Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back with you on this fifth FCE session on YouTube. Okay. Now, today, guys, is a special class because we're going to be watching a TED Talk at the same time of watching this video. Okay. So what you have to do is go at the bottom of this video at the description, and you're going to find the link of the TED Talk that we will have to watch. Okay. So I would like to ask for you guys to have two tabs open. The first tab is this YouTube video, and the second tab would be the TED Talk on YouTube as well. Okay, so please do that so that you can easily go back and forth to the video, to the TED Talk, and to this video. Okay, now before we actually get started with today's activities, I would like to let you know that first of all, we're going to check your homework on workbooks page 92 and 93. Remember, teacher Ralph is checking his homework with you guys as he did in the classroom as well. Okay, now we're going to do reading part 2 on practice test 4, and we're going to revise vocabulary, the vocabulary activities that we assigned to you guys. The third thing is we're going to talk about the TED Talk. We're going to be working on the activities from the book at the same time as watching the TED Talk. Okay, and today you're going to have some homework based on that TED Talk as well. Okay, so let's get started with teacher Rob.
Hello guys, I'm here again to check with you your homework. So I can see that this time you have a lot of homework. So I'm gonna try to do this as fast as possible so you can end as soon as possible, okay? Let's go ahead. Exercise 1. Choose the correct option to complete the sentences. 1. My parents convinced me to go on the exchange trip when I was at school. Number 2. My pen pal reminded me to take warm clothes when I visited her. Number 3. My school arranged for me to go abroad for my work experience. Number 4. My sister promised to take photographs of her travels. Number 5. I suggested that we should try new restaurants to experience different foods. Number 6. Doctors have claimed that new experiences make us happier. Number 7. I persuaded my friends to watch more international movies. Number 8. I was lucky because my school encouraged us to learn about different cultures. Exercise 2. Complete the sentences with these prepositions. Some sentences do not need a preposition. Guys, be careful in this part because some of these sentences doesn't have to do, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to leave it in blank. So, let's go ahead. 1. She accused her friend of copying her style. 2. My host family insists on collecting me from the airport. Number 3. My parents forced me to read about different cultures as a child. On number 3, guys, I leave it as an X to mark that you don't have to put anything there. So it will be like that in some other these sentences. So let's go ahead. 4. I have always blamed my brother for writing on my favorite books. 5. We were talking about fashion, and I admitted being a goth when I was young. I used to imagine traveling all around the world. In both of these sentences, guys, you don't just have to leave it like that. Number 7. I decided to study languages so I could have a year abroad. 8. It is important to forgive people for their mistakes. Exercise 3. Read the interview with Jasmine about her trip to London and choose the correct option to complete each sentence. Sometimes both words might be correct. A. So, Jasmine, you're just back from your trip. How was it? Oh, it was all so amazing. At first I was worried as my friends and family had warned me that London was going to be very cold. They all advised me to take lots of warm clothes, but it wasn't so bad. I will confess that I wore a lot of sweaters for the first few days talk. What do you think you learned most from the experience? Well, that is hard to say. I feel as if I learned so much. When I went, I had intended to try to visit as many places as I could. I would definitely recommend going to the museums, and what is amazing is that most of them are free. Also, my host family persuaded me to go and visit some other places, like the Lake District, which was so beautiful. Yes, people always say that. Do you have any advice for people going on a similar trip? Well, I would recommend that people try to plan what they really want to see. Oh, and don't be afraid to ask people to help you. The people were helpful. One last thing, I would consider trying to stay a bit longer next time. Exercise 4. Read the sentences below and decide if they are correct or incorrect. Correct the incorrect sentences. Number 1. A lot of people claim to me that modern technology makes the world smaller. Claim that. Number 2. Katarina warned us for avoiding the city center on Saturday. It was busy. To avoid. Michael urged us to visit him in the summer for their local festival. Invited. Number 4. When I was younger, I used to pretend being an explorer. To be. The government declared that companies should pay men and women equally. Correct. This one you just have to leave it like that, guys. Number 6. Schools should avoid to make some subjects like good work only for boys. Making. Clement thanked Mackie to advice she gave him. 4. Denise asked to help her choose traditional local gifts for her family. Promised. Okay, let's go ahead with the exercise number 5. A word is missing in each sentence. Choose 2 correct options to complete each sentence. Guys, be careful in this part because you have to choose 2 answers for each question. So, let's go ahead. Number 1. The presentation. Persuaded, and the other one will be convince me to do more to fight discrimination. Number 2. My parents always warned me not to believe stereotypes. The other solution would be advised me not to believe stereotypes. 3. My colleague confessed or admitted to forgetting to update the company's website. 4. She blamed or criticized him for using offensive language and upsetting the guests. Number 5. Max advised my brother to consider or carry on working abroad as it was good for his resume. Number 6. A family friend suggested or recommended that I learn to ignore people who make negative comments. Number 7. The news report claimed that Iceland was the best place to live if you were female. The other answer to this one, guys, will be announced. 8. My sister offered to help me with my project on international cooperation. The second answer would be promised. Exercise 6. Rewrite the second sentence so that it has the same meaning as the first using the word in capital letters. Use between 2 and 5 words. Guys, in this part you have to be very carefully on counting your words because on the exam or in exercise like this, if you miss a word, then you will automatically get it wrong. So, number 1. You should be careful of believing stereotypes. He said. He warned me not to believe. Stereotypes. The speaker put forward the idea that we could learn from the other cultures. In the talk, it was argued that we could learn from other cultures. 3. My parents didn't let me dye my hair when I was younger. My parents refused to let me dye my hair when I was younger. Most modern companies want to employ people with good intercultural communication skills. Most modern companies insist on employing people with good intercultural communication skills. 5. You should go to a place if you want to understand the people, she said. She suggested that I go to a place to understand the people suggested. 6. Society should make companies react strongly to any discrimination in the workplace. Companies should be forced to react strongly to any discrimination in the workplace first. 7. Challenging social norms is a normal part of teenage years, scientists have said. Scientists have stated that challenging social norms is a normal part of teenage years. 7. Put the words in order to make sentences. Guys, in this part I'm only going to read the answer to go quickly on this part. Number 1. The company threatened to dismiss workers to be more cost effective. 2. I would urge everyone to make like-minded friends. 3. The company notified us that the tickets had been sent by email. 4. He denied that he had discriminated against anyone. 5. She resented being called. 6. He thanked the audience for being so well-mannered. 7. My sister always asks to borrow my clothes. 8. I would recommend staying away from two-faced people. And for the last exercise, guys, complete the paragraph with these words: announce, claimed, confess, deny, insist, and persuade. Number 1. Writers have recently announced that there is a new subculture among the country's mid-sea punk, which is claimed to be a mix of punk and pirates, and features the use of lots of marine colors. The followers of this new trend insist that it is completely original and deny being influenced by anyone. Instead, they try to persuade us that this new subculture grew from online sites. There is no denying that the movement is humorous and doesn't take itself too seriously, but I must confess that it will be a while before I am brave enough to experiment with this new fashion. Okay guys, this will be everything for this part. I hope you to have a lot of good answers in this one, because if not, you need to keep practicing a lot. Okay guys, see you soon, I hope. Goodbye.
Well, let's get started on our student book, page 100. Guys, today we're going to watch a TED Talk, like I told you at the beginning of this video, about an American Pakistani speaker. Now, I want you to think a little of probably young kids, especially like 3 or 2-year-old girls and boys, people that have difficulty when it comes to speaking. How do you think they feel to not be able to make themselves understood in our society, right? If someone stutters, if someone has any difficulties pronouncing a word, how do you think they feel? Maybe even in our first language, the double R is mispronounced sometimes. It's really hard to pronounce it, and we make fun of people who can't, right? So today, that's what we're going to be watching in this TED Talk. So on page 100, we have the title, which is Why I Keep Speaking Up, even when people mock my accent. Remember that mock is to make fun of, right? We say normal is simply a construction of what we've been exposed to and how visible it is around us, okay? Now, so remember, this person is having difficulties when it comes to making himself clear regarding his speaking, his pronunciation, and that has some difficulties. Okay, so before we get started, remember, guys, that you're going to be watching this TED Talk on YouTube. I'm going to tell you specifically what minutes to look at, and then we'll continue from there, okay? But before we actually get started on this, I would like for you guys to think about this. We have authentic listening skills. Remember that in TED Talks, we always have to focus on some listening parts, right? And today we're going to focus on the word just, okay? Now, the word just has different meanings, okay? We can use it as meaning only or simply, exactly, soon or recently. Or it can also be used to emphasize a statement or soften a request to make it sound smaller or more polite. So let's look at some examples, right? First of all, we can say just 2 students passed the test. And that would be replacing the word only. Only 2 students passed the test. Now for the next part, we can say, I just wanted to make a question, or I simply wanted to make a question. And look at those 2 words. They both mean the same exact thing, right? Or we can say, that's just the problem, you lied. Or in other words, that's exactly the problem, you lied. As you can see, they all have the same meaning, right? Or we can say, the homework has just been assigned, or the homework has recently been assigned. Okay, so pay attention to this, guys. We can use the word just with many meanings. Okay, so it's important that we know specifically what we want to let the other person know, or what we want to express using the word just. Okay, so guys, before moving on, what we're going to do is we already looked at the listening of authentic skills box, and we're going to listen to the extracts from the TED Talk to adjust in the correct place. Okay, so what I would like for you guys to do is to pause the video a little, listen to the audio, and complete the sentences. Remember to place just where it belongs, okay? So listen to the audio, and once you've listened to it, we'll check it together, okay? Go. Okay, so first of all, we have this in the number 1, which says, I had to grant a lot for that one. Okay, so when do we have to use just? It was used as just had to, right? I just had to grant a lot for that one. What about number 2? I sat there on the computer hitting refresh. So I just sat there on the computer hitting refresh. Number 3, this was the first of a 2-part video. So we can say this was just the first of a 2-part video. Number 4, I could not do it. So I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Couldn't do it. Number 5, if I stutter along the way, I go back in and fix it. So if I stutter along the way, I just go back in and fix it. Number 6, and the year before, that number was about 8%. So we say just the year before, and just the year before, that number was about 8%. What about the last one? It says, like the color blue for ancient Greeks, minorities are not part of what we consider normal. So where was that one? Just like the color blue for ancient Greeks, right? Excellent. Very good, guys. Now, I know that it's kind of a bit complicated to understand the audio entirely at the first time we listened to it, but it was okay if you play the audio twice, okay? Don't worry. Now, moving on to number 3, it says we're going to watch now, but before that, it says to discuss questions. So we have number 1, it says, in what ways do people make fun of others? Well, there's a lot of people that make fun of others by how they look, by how they speak, by the things they like, right? Especially. What about number 2? In what ways might people react to being made fun of? Maybe when someone makes fun of someone else, that person that is being made fun of can react in a negative form. Maybe becoming depressed, maybe, or even, I think I told you, right, that when I was in the United States, there was a lot of bullying carrying on, and students would really be bothered a lot, and students would complain. And I think it's still the same, right? Students get depressed, students get sad. Maybe they don't even tell the parents, they don't tell the teachers to help them out, right? Why do you think people make fun of others? Think about that one, guys. Why do you think people make fun of other people? Maybe, and as we know, it's not the right thing to do, right? And not everyone is perfect. Not any of us is perfect. So we cannot be making fun of other people, right? Okay, excellent.
1. I just had to grunt a lot for that one. 2. I just sat there on the computer hitting refresh. 3. This was just the first of a 2-part video. 4. I just could not do it. 5. If I stutter along the way, I just go back in and fix it. 6. And just the year before, that number was about 8%. 7. Just like the color blue for ancient Greeks, minorities are not a part of what we consider normal.
Okay, so moving on exercise number 4, guys, we're going to watch part 1 of the TED Talk, and we're going to say if the sentences are true or false. Now remember that the link of the TED Talk is on the video description here at the bottom below this video, okay? Let's just go over the sentences. Number 1 says, people have sometimes joked, have you forgotten your name? Because of Safwat's stutter. Number 2, Safwat is interested in video games. Number 3, the video Safwat posted only got negative feedback. Number 4, the negative comments were mainly about Safwat's stutter. Number 5, the incident led Safwat to do more voiceovers in order to prove his critics wrong. Number 6, in the past, Safwat used video and voiceovers to become more confident in speaking. And number 7, Safwat practiced to improve his voice and accent to sound more normal. Okay, so guys, remember, please play the video. Please pause this video and go watch the TED Talk. Look at the description here at the bottom of the video so that you can go over and watch it. You're only watching minutes 0 through minutes 4 minutes and 20 seconds, please. If you need to, you can play it several times, twice, and answer exercise number 4, and then we'll check it together. Okay, now that you're finished, number 1 says, people have sometimes joked, have you forgotten your name because of Safwat's stutter? That is true, right? That's what most people used to ask him, since that's why he didn't like to be introduced, right? Or to introduce himself. Number 2, Safwat is interested in video games. Is that true? Yes, right? He mentioned that at the beginning of the audio too. Number 3, the video Safwat posted only got negative feedbacks. That is false, right? He got the positive and negative feedback. At the beginning, he felt really confident because he had only read the positive feedback, and then he read the negative one, and that was kind of what made him fall into depression, right? Now, what about number 4? The negative comments were mainly about Safwat's stutter. That is False, right? He was also discriminated because of racial manners, because his accent sounded because of his accent, not just because of stuttering, but because of his accent. Number 5, the incident led Safwat to do more voiceovers in order to prove his critics wrong. That it's false, right? He didn't even mention that. Number 6, in the past, Safwat used video and voiceovers to become more confident in speaking. That is true, right? That's how he became more confident. And number 7, Safwat practiced to improve his voice and accent to sound more normal. That is false, right? He didn't do that anymore. Okay? Excellent, guys. That's kind of cool, right? Because that's probably the problem we have when we start learning another language. We all have different accents. Now, moving on to exercise number 5, it says to work as a class and to read the conclusion of Safwat's talk. Discuss the questions. It says, the ancient Greeks didn't just wake up one day and realize that the sky was blue. It took centuries, even for humans, to realize what we have been ignoring for so long. And so we must continuously challenge our notion of normal, because doing so is going to allow us as a society to finally see the sky for what it is. So, how do you think the ancient Greeks and the color of the sky might be related to what you have talked about and seen so far? What do you think, guys? Think about them and write them down in your notebooks. Think about these questions. Number 2, what do you think Safwat means by the sky with regard to society today? Okay, so please answer those questions, think about them, and write your answers down in your notebook, guys. Okay, and then we're going to check them together. Now, moving on to exercise number 5, it says to watch the TED Talk for part 2, and it says to put the sentences in order. The first one is given, then watch part 2 of the TED Talk to check your answers, okay? So what we're going to do first, you're going to read the sentences and try to put them in order, okay? So, for example, number 1 is already done. Few colors are mentioned in ancient literature. Why? And then we have more sentences. So guys, take a couple of minutes to read them carefully, and try to order them the way you would you think is the correct order, and then play part 2 of the TED Talk. Remember, the TED Talk is the link at the bottom of on this description, and you will then check if you're correct or not. Okay, so please go ahead and do that. Okay, guys, so the YouTube video about the TED Talk that you have to watch now is starting from minute 4:20 seconds and all the way to minute 10 and 48 seconds, okay? So please watch it so then we can check the answers together. Once you finish watching it, play the video again. Okay, so number 1 we said was few colors are mentioned in ancient literature. Why? So number 2 would be, one theory is that colors weren't named or seen until people could make them. Number 3, blue was invisible and not part of ancient people's normal, unlike red. Number 4, in the same way, narrators with strong accents are not part of people's normal. 5, people's idea of normal can lead to discrimination, such as offering fewer interviews to people with black-sounding names. Number 6, people discriminate because they don't see or relate to people who are different from themselves. Number 7, people learn not to relate to minorities because there are few images of minorities in books. Number 8, minorities are not part of society's normal, like the color blue wasn't for the Greeks. And number 9, should Safwat accept or challenge ideas of normality? And finally, number 10, this is why Safwat has gone back to using his voice in his work. Okay, guys, if you pay attention to what the speaker said, this is kind of what we see every day, right? Discrimination. In the TV, there's a lot of stereotypes, in the movies, in books, and he's totally right. We don't see any we hardly ever see any minorities being protagonists in movies or in books, right? Okay, the last thing that we do before your homework and checking other things is this, my perspective. So guys, how do you feel about your own accent in English? Would you like to change it at all? What would be a normal accent for you? Okay, remember we have spoken about accents for many times, and I've told you, as in Spanish, there's Cuban Spanish, Colombian Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, Mexican Spanish, Spaniard Spanish, and of course, all of the accents are totally different, and that doesn't mean that we speak a wrong Spanish, right? And in English, the important thing is just to make yourself understood as well, right? But how do you feel? Do you think your accent is understood, as understandable? Is it clear for other people? Or what things would you change? Think about them, write them down if necessary. And guys, remember, it's just a matter of practicing, right? Practice makes perfect. Excellent. Okay, guys, now the last thing is your homework. You have homework, okay? So it's to complete your workbook, page 94. There's four exercises that you will have to complete. All of these exercises are regarding the TED Talk that we saw in this video, okay? That the link that we give you, okay? So please watch it again and complete these exercises, which we will check with teacher Rafa on next class, okay? Good.
Hello guys, we're going to work on your practice test number 4 on reading part 2. Let's read it together. The right job. There are more choices than ever, but what is the best job for you? Many young people worry about their future and spend hour after hour considering what to do when they finish school. It is only a rare few who make up their minds early on regarding their choice of career and know what skills and qualifications will get them there. For the rest of us, it's a case of just waiting to see what comes along, or even randomly selecting a job. After all, luck often plays an enormous part in the choices young adults make. Unfortunately, there's no straightforward advice that young people can follow, but there are a few things which can make choosing a suitable career a little easier. The first thing you should do is focus on what your interests are. Ask yourself what kind of activities you enjoy doing most. Are they physical or intellectual activities, indoor or outdoor, with other people or alone? Planning out your future life is no easy feat, and this sort of self-awareness is vital. Knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are helps a lot too. What are you good at? Do you find problem solving easy? Are you comfortable working under pressure? Or do you prefer a more relaxed pace? If you find it difficult to answer these questions yourself, take an aptitude test. This will help you identify what you excel at and areas in which you don't do so well. The results can then help you determine professions that are either suitable or totally inappropriate for you. It is also important to know what your values and priorities are in life are. What's more important to you? Is it wealth and fame or a comfortable family life? A steady, secure job with an average salary or a high-risk job with more potential for great wealth? A more practical activity that can be of benefit is taking a gap year between school and university and working as a volunteer. This will give you more time to decide what you want to do, while at the same time providing you with the opportunity to help those in need. You'll also gain new skills and experience that will prove invaluable to you in life and in your future career. After all, employers want to hire either experienced and skilled people or those who can show initiative, a willingness to work, and enthusiasm. Having worked as a volunteer proves that you have all of these attributes and makes you a more attractive candidate. It may well be this experience that sets you apart from the other applicants and gets you the job. Another step that can be taken when contemplating a career is to ask people who are already working in a particular field about its positive and negative aspects. However, make sure you ask more than just one person, as different people have different perspectives. Finally, you should never forget that whatever you choose, you don't necessarily have to do it forever. You could change your mind while still at university, or you could even retrain when you're older and are already working. The important thing is to feel content with your life, as work plays such a major part in it. Having a fulfilling career needs to be a priority. Okay guys, now we're going to work on reading part 3, vocabulary words. Guys, in this activity we had to classify the categories each of these groups belong to. So we had the options, and all you had to do was write down the correct option for each chart. So let's look at chart purple and repeat after me. Structure, lean, place of worship, remains, steeple, foundation, hazard, degree, tilt, conflict, soil, skyscraper, sewage system. And these category belongs to nouns. So these are all nouns. Okay, moving on. We have lean, claim, preserve, drain, rot, settle, incorporate, withstand, accelerate. These are all verbs. Then we have visible, former, medieval, stable, shallow, ongoing, raised. These are adjectives. Alright, then we have tear down, consist of. Phrasal verbs. Then we have unintentionally, adverb, and make room for, common phrase. Guys, in this exercise you had to match the vocabulary words with the definition. So we said that the first one was structure, and the answer was building. The second one was visible and is able to be seen. Lean as a noun is to position away from the vertical. Lean is a verb, to not be straight. Unintentionally is the only adverb, and it's accidentally or by accident. Place of worship is a religious building such as a church. A place of worship, it can be anything. For example, a mosque, or for example, a synagogue. Okay, former, earlier. It's like before, yes? Remains, what is left over. Medieval is just like the word in Spanish, or from the Middle Ages, which is from 1000 AD to 1500 AD. Okay, steeple is pointed tower, which is often part of a church. Claim, hold the record for. Okay, so you'll see an example right now. And foundation is the base of a building. Tear down, knock down, or bring down a building as well. Make room for, to create space for. Consist of, have or contain different parts. Preserve is to save something from being harmed. Now let's look at some of these sentences that we have here. We have an example of unintentionally. It says, when she was walking, she unintentionally stepped on your cat's tail. We have the example of the structure of our school is quite solid. Then we have the foundation of the apartment is well built, which is the basis of the apartment. It's the first part of the structure that is built, and that supports everything else. I had to make a room for, or space, for our new dog in my house, and then he claimed that no one had ever helped him. So he said that no one had ever helped him. Then we have the old factory was torn down by the demolishing company, which, as we saw, is to be brought down or knocked down. Okay, now we have stable. We said that it was steady. Then we have a drain, remove the water. Rot, to decay, decompose. Hazard is danger. Degree, a unit of measurement for angles. For example, a 90-degree angle, you can say, or a 180-degree angle. Tilt, position away from the vertical. To incline. Shallow, not deep, usually for bodies of water, for example, rivers or even lakes, okay, or even the ocean. Then we have ongoing, which is continuing or constant. Conflict, disagreement. Settle, become stable, stop moving, or stay in one single place. Soil, which is earth or material on the surface of the ground in which plants grow. Raised is if something is raised, it means that it is higher than things around it. It is elevated. Incorporate is to include in. A skyscraper is a very, very tall building. It's usually those extremely high or tall buildings. Okay, withstand is to be strong enough not to be harmed by cold, earthquakes, etc. to survive these extreme experiences. Okay, accelerate is to go faster. And sewage system is a way that liquid waste is taken away. Is how we get rid of liquid waste. Okay, the system of how we get rid of it. Now, looking at the sentences, we only have a series of examples, guys. This does not mean that you did not have to write a sentence for each of the definitions of vocabulary words that we saw. You are definitely supposed to write a sentence for each one of them. I am only giving you some main sentences, just to give you an idea of how you were supposed to do it. So let's look at the first one. It says the Tower of Pisa in Italy is tilted to the side, which means that it is inclined to the side. If you want to, you can research for a picture of this. Then we have, if you leave fruit outside the fridge, it will rot, which means that it will decay, it will decompose. The tallest skyscraper is the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. We also have, for example, the Empire State Building in New York, or what used to be the Twin Towers as well. Those were skyscrapers, very tall buildings. Or the Petrona Towers in Asia. Okay, then we have the stock market has remained stable throughout the year. Okay, then we have there's an ongoing pandemic, which is a still present pandemic that is keeping everyone under quarantine. We have had to withstand the cold Canadian winters for many years now, which means to survive or to manage, to live through, right? And then the water is so shallow that you won't drown even if you can't swim. So it's very, very, not very deep at all. Okay, great. Fill in the gaps of this short story using the following vocabulary words. So let's begin. When we went on a trip to England, we first visited a church that had a magnificent steeple that was leaned to the side because of an earthquake that had happened a few years back. For this reason, it is considered a hazard because it can fall at any time on top of someone that might be walking around there. We later visited the skyline and saw many tall skyscrapers. At lunch, we went to a restaurant that had really good food, but a terrible sewage system. And I had to call someone for maintenance because I tried to drain the water in the toilet, but I couldn't. It was so embarrassing. Okay guys, so just as a reminder for next class, please answer practice test 4 on reading part 3. Thank you. Take care. Hi guys. Alright, well, today we're going to work on the vocabulary words for reading part 2 of practice test number 4. So get ready. Okay guys, so in this activity you have to classify the following vocabulary words in the correct category. We have, all of these words belong to reading part 2 from practice test 4 in your green books. So we have phrase. Phrase just refers to a general expression. Then we have phrasal verb, verb, noun, adjective, or adverb. So please write each of these words in whichever category they belong. I'm going to give you a little tip. Most of the words are either nouns or verbs. Guys, in the following activity, the instruction is to find the following vocabulary words in the word search. These are the same words, or most of the words that we saw in the previous exercise. but in this case it's just to familiarize you with the correct spelling of these words, and well, just to visually make it easier for you to recognize them. Okay guys, in this activity we have the first 13 vocabulary words in our reading part 2, and then we have the definitions on the side. So let's work on the first one. It's willingness. So what is willingness, guys? In this case, it is the feeling of being ready to do something. Okay, so please fill in the rest, and what you have to do is write down the number in each of the circles. Here we have the other 15 words that are also part of the vocabulary. I recommend that you go over these words, and this will definitely help you with your reading comprehension for reading part 2. Alright guys, our last activity for today is to please write down one FCE level sentence. Remember that this is of at least 8 words for each of the following vocabulary words. Of course, it can be more than 8 words, but the minimum is 8 words. So we have set someone apart from, randomly, straightforward, fulfilling, attribute, field, pace, and wealth. Okay, so guys, please complete the correct answers for next class by A, printing the slides, answering and pasting them, or handwriting them down on your FCE notebook. Thanks, guys.
Okay guys, this is the end of today's class. We really hope everything was able to be understandable, to be understood, I'm sorry. And please stay home, stay safe, complete all the assignments. Remember, we're going to check them as soon as we go back to school. Okay? Guys, stay home and stay safe. Goodbye.